Okay. In this situation, we want to be able to determine the derivative, but now there's more than one rule involved. So as we look at this derivative right here, what I first notice is that instead of a 2, I have a 2x. Is everybody okay with that? So we finished problem number 4 in our notes yesterday. Now we're on number 5. Anybody want to guess what rule we use if we have 2x times the quantity 4 minus x to the 4th power? You do use the product rule. And so I'm going to call this f, and I'm going to call this g. Yep. So the derivative of f is equal to, what is f prime? 2 times g would be 4 minus x raised to the 4th power. That's pretty straightforward, isn't it? Then it's plus, now you leave f alone, correct? So it's 2x times, and now I need the derivative of g. What rule would I use to find the derivative of g? The chain rule. So we're going to use that chain rule. I'll set up my boxes right here. And I've got u to the 4th. What's on the inside? 4 minus x. The derivative of 4 minus x is? Negative 1. And the derivative of u to the 4th is 4u to the 3rd. So that would be a negative 4 times 4 minus x raised to the 3rd power. So that's taking the place of g prime. So this is f prime g plus f g prime. So I'm multiplying that times a negative 4, 4 minus x to the 3rd power. Now, anytime you use the product rule in combination with the chain rule in that way, you must write it in factored form. That's the way it's always expressed on the AP exam. So we're going to do that. 2 times 4 minus x raised to the 4th power. And it's a minus 8x times 4 minus x to the 3rd power. So all I've done is just multiply those two pieces together. Is everybody okay with that step? Yeah. All right, let's go through the factoring now. Okay, you're excellent at factoring. What is the common factor that you can remove? 2 times 4 minus x to the 3rd power. That is the common factor I'm taking out. And to kind of make sure that I'm making my point, I'm writing a large parenthesis. I'm taking that whole thing out of both of these. When I take out a 2 times 4 minus x to the 3rd, what remains? Just a 4 minus x. And then when I take out a 2 times 4 minus x cubed out of the second part, what's left? Negative 4x. So if you look at what remains, I have 2 times 4 minus x cubed, and then I have, what's negative x minus 4x? So you could have 4 minus 5x. You could write your answer like that. That's acceptable. There's a couple ways in which your answer can be expressed. You got to make sure everybody's on the same page here. Again, folks, the calculus is over. Like, you're actually really good at the calculus. The calculus is done. The challenge part is the algebra for a lot of people, okay? Can I distribute the 2 through here? No. Can I distribute the 2 through here? So I will accept either that as an answer, or I would accept 8 minus 10x times the 4 minus x quantity cubed. So either one of those I would accept. Either one is the same. Are you okay with that? Yeah. So now you've seen an example where we use the product rule with the chain rule. That's something we need to be prepared to do, and that's where it gets challenging for people. I'll say that this is kind of the most challenging part for people as a test comes up. Okay, this one gets people. What's different about this problem compared to the ones we've seen before? Sine squared, yeah. So now we're actually squaring the sine, and I struggle with ways to explain this, so I'm going to do my very, very best to explain this. If you consider order of operations, I want you to think about it. Suppose I plug something in for x and I wanted to carry out my order of operations. The first thing I do is I would take, say, 4 minus x, raise it to the fourth, and then I would take 2 times x, and at the very end I would multiply those two things together. Agreed? Yeah. So therefore, the product rule, because that's the last thing I did, that's the first thing I set up was product. Now I want you to think about your order of operation here. You plug something in for x, you first multiply it by 3. What would you do next? Take the sine of it, and after you take the sine of it, you then... So squaring is the last thing that you did. So it's the first thing that you set up. You squared that thing. What is it that you squared? Sine of... So sine of 3x is what goes on the inside. I'm sorry, I'm going to rewrite it as this so that you can see, because I'm seeing a couple head scratchers there. These two expressions are the same. That's what that means. Okay? Does that make sense now? So that's the inside. We all good? Good. Okay, so I need the derivative of u squared. 2u. And now I need the derivative of sine of 3x. What rule do you have to use to find the derivative of sine of 3x? The chain rule. Right? Because this requires the use of the chain rule twice. Sine of u. Okay, what's the inside? 3x. What's the derivative of sine? Cosine of u. What's the derivative of 3x? 3. So if I multiply these together and replace that, I get... Now, this is where you can see it. Sometimes people are like, well, I don't want to set up another set of boxes. And so instead of setting up another set, they just do like I said. What's the derivative of the inside? 3. What's the derivative of the outside? With the inside left alone. See it? That way they don't set it up. So let me multiply these two together now. If I take this times this, what are you going to get out front? I get a 6. You could write cosine of 3x. That's fine. And then, but I also have to have u. What's u? Sine of 3x. That's the derivative. Good.
Actually, we have parentheses in the second quadrant.
Yes. Yep. Okay, let's flip it over to this letter A right here. Okay, this letter A right here. Can somebody tell me what rule or rules will be used for this derivative? Letter A. 2A. Product and chain. Product and chain. Do I start by saying up the chain rule, or do I start by saying up the product rule?
Product.
I start by saying up the product. Why? Because you would take cosine of 4x, you would multiply negative 3 times x squared, and the last thing you would do would be multiply those two things together. So that's what I first set up. I'll call that F, and I'll call that G. What is the derivative of F? Times what? Times cosine of 4x. Is it going to be a plus or a minus? Okay, plus a negative 3x squared, so I could write minus 3x squared times, now I need the derivative of cosine of 4x. Negative 4 sine of 4x. Nice job. Do you want me to write it out? Okay, I'll write it out, but Maddie saw it, and earlier she said that she thought it was confusing, so she's making strides there. Nice job, Maddie. She sees cosine of u, and she sees 4x. The derivative of 4x is 4. The derivative of cosine is negative sine of u.
Negative 4 sine of 4x?
Yep, so times negative 4 sine of 4x. So notice how I have negative 6x cosine of 4x. Is it going to be plus or minus? Plus what? 12 x squared sine of 4x. Good. You guys are doing well. These are not easy problems.
Where do you get the 12x squared?
So I take negative 3x squared times negative 4. I told you that you will never leave the product rule alone when it's used in conjunction with that chain rule. You must take out the common factor. That's just what is expected on the AP exam. That's the only way I've seen it expressed. What's the common factor to take out? Negative 6x, and that's it. Just negative 6x. Take it out, what are you left with? I think it's going to be a minus, right? Minus 2x sine of 4x. We good? Not too bad, right? The next problem, we're going to not do that one. I just don't see it come up very often making use of it. So, Gavin, I know that as you're probably to that problem in your homework. We're going to leave that as an optional challenge problem. So, just doesn't come up very much. Thank you. Broad shoulders. Flip it over.
Wait, Mr. Dent, you have to go back. I was right in.
Oh, I have to go back. Got it.
Mr. Dent, what's your favorite class method?
I've never been with the 8th graders doing that piece. I really like interrogation. I think they have fun with that. And I didn't get that from Lane Crew. I stole that from my camp days. So, all right, Ella, we good? Thank you.
Thank you.
By the way, at any point during the day, just life lesson, if you do feel tired, you'd only be normal to feel tired. Try taking 3 full deep breaths. Because right now, when you slump a little bit, your brain is only taking about 70% of the oxygen. And your brain says, uh-oh, I'm not getting enough oxygen. It's time to the nap. No, like that's what it's a biological reaction. So if you do try taking some deep breaths, that'll help you. Okay? Well, first of all, a lot of content. Second of all, it's right after lunch. So your body's got some sugar in you, stuff. All right. What rule should we use there? What rule? The quotient rule. Very good. So this is going to be a little bit more involved, isn't it? Because I have f prime g minus g prime f all over g squared. So can we just start by finding f prime and g prime since we know we're going to have to use them? So let's start by finding f prime and g prime. So I'm going to have, I'll do f prime here and I'll do g prime here. All right, so we'll say that f is the top. So what's the outside? U to the fourth, the inside, derivative of the inside, and the outside. Look at how quick we are at that. Doesn't that feel good from yesterday? It's like, yay. I mean, you are learning a lot, folks. You knew none of this. That's the challenging thing about this course when we get to the AP exam. Did everybody here know how to write a paper before they got to their AP English course? Did you know anything about calculus before you started this year? No. And so that's what does make this class kind of challenging, is that you knew nothing. Like if you would tried to try the AP exam right away, you would have got, they wouldn't even give you 1, they give you 0. Okay, so we got 12 times 3x minus 5 to the 3rd power. Okay. All right. And then what do I do for the bottom one? And 2 minus x. So I've got, it's interesting to use voice inflection in that situation. 6u to the 5th. Okay, good. I got negative 6 times 2 minus x raised to the 5th power. We all good with that? All right, so this is going to take just a little bit of space. I'm going to try to write as neat as I can here. We start with f prime. Which one's f prime? 12 times 3x minus 5 raised to the third power. Times what? The 2 minus x raised to the 6th. Is it going to be plus or minus? Plus y. Okay, so it's a minus, but because the negative 6 will come next, we'll go plus 6 times 2 minus x to the 5th. And I'm out of space. Can I erase, folks? Okay, thank you. And then what comes after that? 3x minus 5 raised to the 6th. Good. What? No. Raised to the 4th. All over, what do I have in the denominator? 2 minus x to the 12th. Good. Does everybody see that there's definitely a common factor that can be taken out of the top?
6.
Good. There's a large common factor. I'm going to write it in red because this is where it gets confusing. You take a deep breath and work your way through. But common factor among 12 and 6 is 6. And the common factor among 3x minus 5 to the third and 3x minus 5 to the fourth is 3x minus 5 to the third. And then 2 minus x to the fifth. So that's my common factor that I take out of, and we'll see what's left. So if I take out 6, then I'm left with 2 times. This whole thing's gone, right? And you have 2 minus x plus a 3x minus 5. We okay with that? All over 2 minus x quantity to the 12th. Hey, I've got 5 of those things up there. I've got 12 of them down there. So what's going to happen? Those will be gone. I'll reduce this to 7. Good. So that helps. So now I have 6 times 3x minus 5 to the third times, will I be able to combine some like terms here? Yeah, let's look at this. I've got 2 times negative x plus 3x. What will 2 times negative x plus 3x be? Just 1x. And what will 2 times 2 minus 5 be? Minus 1. All over 2 minus x to the 7th. So, thank you. So 2 times negative x is negative 2x, plus 3x is the 1x. I combine those like terms. Good. We're getting close. You guys are doing well. Next one. Yes. You could take the 6 and multiply it by the x minus 1. You don't have to, but you could. Totally up to you. Shh. This one involves the chain rule. Anybody want to guess what the outside is? What's the outside? Awesome. Very good. Negative 8u to the 4th. That's what's happening. Okay? Because this could be rewritten as negative 8 times sine of 4x minus 2 to the 4th power. So it's not taking the negative 8 to the 4th. It's just taking the sine to the 4th. Good job. What's the inside? Sine of 4x minus 2. So again, we're using multiple rules. What's the derivative of negative 8u to the 4th? Negative 32u to the 3rd. I'm not going to set up the boxes. You're all going to be able to do this. What is the derivative of the inside? 4. What's the derivative of the outside? Cosine times the inside left alone. Nope, that's the derivative of this piece right here. So the answer is when I multiply the two together and substitute that back in. So what's negative 32 times 4? Negative 128. Very good. I have u to the third. What is u? Sine of 4x minus 2 to the third, right? Cubed times cosine of 4x minus 2. Four times the negative 32 is negative 128. Okay. So sine of 4x minus 2 drops in for you there, and it's getting cubed. So sine cubed times that cosine. Folks, not supposed to be easy. Again, if it was easy, we'd have 128 people sign up for this class. Yes?
Does it matter if we put cosine?
No, that'll be fine. Just make sure you don't cube the cosine. Yep. What's that? Nothing left to simplify. Question? No. Okay, we're done with the tough algebra. Now let's go to the table piece. This is pretty straightforward and simple, okay? It says w of x is equal to u of v of x. What I see here is that there's a composition function, meaning that one function sits inside the other one. I want to find w prime of 3, okay? So you tell me, what did we say about the chain rule? You take the derivative of the outside, okay? All right, yeah, derivative of the inside. What's the so how would we write the derivative of the inside? How would you write the derivative of v of x? You'd write v prime of x. Derivative of the inside times, how would you write the derivative of the outside? U prime of v of x. Yep. So the derivative of the inside times the derivative of the outside with the inside left alone. So that will determine the derivative given this. And this is a classic AP question that comes up. We expose it to you now, you'll forget it, but then when we review it, you'll remember better, okay? Oh, sorry. Okay, so I'm looking at 3, so I'm going to plug in 3, okay? What is v prime of 3? What is v prime of 3? V prime of 3 is negative 3, right there. Times u prime of, what is v of 3? V of 3 is 5. So now I have to determine u prime of 5. So I have negative 3 times, what's u prime of 5? Negative 4, right there. Good. Negative 4, so the answer is 12.
Let's go. That's too easy. That's too easy.
So first we gotta solve b prime is 4 by u prime.
Let's go, Laura.
One more example, then we're done. Sorry. Last example, so Maddie, you have a question. See if you follow this piece right here. I'm going to do one, and then you guys will do one, and we'll make sure it's good to go. So it defines, it says, let u of x be f of g of x. And we're going to find, I'm going to find u prime of 1 with you, and then you guys are going to find w prime of negative 2, okay? So u is going to be this thing. So u prime of x is equal to, it's equal to f of g of x. What do you get if you take the derivative of f of g of x? Use our rule. Derivative of the inside, which would be, good, g prime of x times f prime of g of x. Good. Now, we're determining this at what value of x? 1. at 1. So I plug in 1 to these spots right there. So if you look at the function, here's g. I'll kind of draw it in red right here. What does it mean to find g prime of 1? The slope at 1. What's the slope of this kind of line right here? It is 3 times f prime of, what is g of 1? G of 1 is 2. That's the height of the function at that spot. It is 2. To get 3, I looked at the derivative of g at 1. You can see the slope here is 3 units. So now we need to determine f prime of 2. So I'm looking for the slope of f, and it is -2. So I have 3 times -2 is -6. What I would like to see you guys do is w prime of -2. Notice that w changes, it's g of f of x. You try that one on your own, and that's where we end for the day. Try that one on your own. I got a 4th. Anybody else? Good job. You're ready to move on to the next sheet. That one is a lengthy one. You have time to work on Monday. Nice work today. Thank you for your efforts.